Good morning, Year 4. It's Mrs. Cafrello here with your literacy lesson for Monday, the 18th of January 2021. So what I want you to do is get your literacy book out and your pencil, and I want you to write today's date up at the top here, Monday, 18th of January 2021. Then I want you to miss a line and write today's learning objective, which is to ask questions. Then miss another line and do a subheading SPAG, and that is where you're going to write your SPAG starter for today. Okay, so pause the video and do that now. So we're going to be thinking about some questions that we can ask today. So first of all, we're going to look at when we need to use a question mark. So I want you to have a little think now. Tell your grown up or have a little think to yourself when you think you would need to use a question mark. Okay. We need to put a question mark at the end of a sentence if it is asking a question. So for example, shall we visit the zoo today needs a question mark at the end. It is somebody asking the question, shall we visit the zoo today? Okay. Another time when we need a question mark is if it comes in the middle of somebody speaking and asking a question. So it would need to go within the inverted commas. So for example, are zoos safe for animals? Asked the boy. So the inverted commas or speech marks go here and here, round what the boy is saying. So the boy is saying, are zoos safe for animals? So because it's a question, the question mark would come at the end of the last word that he says, just before the inverted commas. So you'd have your first lot of speech marks, are zoos safe for animals, question mark, your second lot of speech marks, asked the boy. So for your first task, I want you to have a look at these and decide if you can put a question mark in the correct place. So decide where the question mark is going to go. So you can choose mild, spicy or hot. So mild says, after lunch, shall we go and see the rhinos? Spicy says, if we go to the zoo, can we visit the gift shop? Hot says, which is your favourite animal? Sam asked. Okay, so choose the one that you're going to do, and under your subheading in your book, I want you to write out the sentence and put in the question mark where you think it needs to go. So you can pause the video and do that now. Okay, so when you've done that, let's have a look. Okay, so mild. After lunch, shall we go and see the rhinos? The question mark would come at the end of the sentence here instead of the full stop. If you've got that, give yourself a tick. Spicy. If we go to the zoo, can we visit the gift shop? The question mark again will come at the end of the sentence because the full sentence is a question. If we go to the zoo, can we visit the gift shop? Give yourself a tick. Hot says, which is your favourite animal? Sam asked. And here, the question mark will come here, at the end of the last word that Sam says, just before the inverted commas. Which is your favourite animal? Question mark, Sam asked. If you got that, give yourself a tick. So this is how your book should look now. So just under the SPAG header, you can write task 1. Tell us which one you've done, if you've done mild, spicy or hot, and then write out your sentence. So task 2 is going to be looking at changing statements or commands into a question. So the following sentence, take me to look at the monkeys. That is a command. That is somebody telling somebody what they want them to do. Have a think how you can change that into a question. So instead of commanding somebody to take you to look at the monkeys, how would you word that if it was going to be a question? Pause the video, have a little think. Okay, so we could say, can you take me to look at the monkeys? And your question mark goes here. And that is asking somebody instead of telling them that you want to go and look at the monkeys. At the bottom here, there's some words that you can use to begin your question. So we've got where, how, who, what, can, when, and why. And those are words that are often used at the start of asking a question. So it is your turn now, but I've made it a little bit trickier. So I want you to rearrange the sentences to change them into questions. So that means you can only use the words that you see in the sentences. You're not adding in or taking out any other words. Okay, so Mild says, we will go to the zoo tomorrow. Spicy says, your favourite animal is a crocodile. And Hot says, the zookeeper does look very busy. How can you rearrange these sentences using all the words that you see there to change them from a normal sentence into a question? So I want you to pause the video now, write task 2 in your book and have a go at changing one of these into a question. Okay, so we could rearrange mild to say, will we go to the zoo tomorrow? Question. And that has changed it from a normal sentence, we will go to the zoo tomorrow, into a question, will we go to the zoo tomorrow? Spicy, we can change that sentence into a question. Is your favourite animal a crocodile? With a question mark at the end. So we've used all the words there. Is your favourite animal a crocodile? But we've got a question mark on the end. And Hot, does the zookeeper look very busy? So you're asking if the zookeeper looks very busy. And again, you've used all the words that are there. You've just rearranged them into a question. So give yourself a tick if you've got those right. So this is how your book should look now. And remember that you can give yourself a tick if you got your spag starter correct. Well done, guys. So this half term, our topic is Hucklow Scientists. What do you know about life on Earth? And this term in Year 4, we're going to be writing a campaign based on keeping animals in captivity. Okay, so last week with Miss Atkin, you had a look at the pros and cons, so the positives and negatives of animals being kept in captivity or left in their wild, in their natural habitats. Okay, so we're going to start thinking about creating our own campaign to persuade somebody to think the same way as you. You should have all watched the video by now. If you've not had time to watch it, go back to the blog because you will need to watch this video today to help you with your learning. Okay, so the video is on the blog and it is called Why I Love My Job by lots of zookeepers who work at Fort Wayne Children's Zoo. Okay, so make sure you have watched this video before you start your learning. Okay, so I want you to have a little think about what you've seen in the video. Let's discuss that. What did the zookeepers like about their job? Have a little think about what they were saying that they liked. Some of them really enjoyed working with the animals, really liked to have a go at helping the animals and educating the public as well. So the guests that went to the zoo, a lot of the zookeepers enjoyed that. You know, the best part of their job was to educate the guests that visit the zoo and let them know different facts about the animals. Do you think that they care for the animals well from what you've seen there? What do you think? Do you think that they're good at caring for the animals at the zoo? What did they say that they do in their day at the zoo? So lots of them explained which animals they worked with and what they do whilst they're there. There was one man who looks after the reptiles who talked about feeding them enriching meals. That means meals that are really healthy and good for them. And do you think that they are being fair on the animals? What are your thoughts about the zookeepers? One lady right at the start of the video who looked after the sea lions talked about doing sea lion shows and entertaining the public. Do you think that's fair for the sea lions to do? Do you think that's something that they'd enjoy? So have a little think about these questions. Have a little think about what you've seen in that video. So in your book today, you're going to write down some questions that you would ask the zookeepers. Okay, think about what you would need to know to help you decide on how to write your campaign. Do you think you're going to write about animals being safe and well cared for in captivity? Are you happy that animals are kept in zoos and safari parks and not their natural habitat? Or do you think animals should be kept in the wild and not be kept in zoos in cages? What are your thoughts? What questions could you ask the zookeeper to find out more before you make your decision? Have a little think about some questions you want to ask. So this is how I want you to set out your work. I want you to use bullet points today on this page, and I want you to do a bullet point and write out your question. Do not forget your capital letters at the start of your sentence and your question marks at the end. So my first question to ask the zookeepers would be, do you think that animals like being in the zoo? And that might help me decide how to write my campaign. If you choose to do the mild task today, I want you to write at least 5 questions. If you can do more, that's absolutely brilliant. Remember to use your bullet points and don't forget your question marks. If you have chose to do the spicy challenge, I want you to write at least 10 questions. And again, don't forget your bullet points and your question marks. If you are challenging yourself and going straight for the hot, that is brilliant. See if you can write 10 questions that you would ask the zookeepers and then challenge yourself. Can you find out the answers to those questions? Could you use Google and have a look online? Or have you got a book that might help you find out the answers to some of your questions? When you have done your list of questions on this side of your page, if you want to challenge yourself even further, you can leave a line after your last question that you've asked and do another subheading for the challenge. And the challenge today is this. Pretend you are a zookeeper. Write about your day working at the zoo. How do you look after the animals? How long do you work for? Do you enjoy working at the zoo? Do you think animals are well looked after in the zoo? So here's an opportunity for you to share some of your thoughts and ideas. Okay, so even if you've done mild, spicy or hot, see if you can do the challenge. And when you have finished your work, please get your grown-up to send a photo to the email address year4@hucklow.sheffield.sch.uk. Good luck. I'm really looking forward to looking at some of these questions that you're going to be asking the zookeepers. I can't wait to read your work. Keep up the good work, Year 4.